Hello, Paul Hamilton here. We're looking at this, really excited about this tutorial. We're going to explore how we can use games in a student workflow. So I'm going to select one of my all-time favorite games. It's called Limbo. Limbo is a visually beautiful, absolutely beautiful level game where the character basically has to um, go through different kind of levels to actually achieve, and it's just a case of kind of moving backwards and forwards. In this little scene here, he's got to actually grab and actually pull the boat up, because if he doesn't do that, he won't be able to get up to the top. So he can do that in range, and I'll just jump over the back and actually push it from the other direction. And so what he basically has to do is do all these wonderful little puzzles as you go along, and it's really difficult. You can see he's getting up there, and then he climbs up here pretty easily. Can I just say that this is not a student game? This is very much a teenage adult game. It's very dark, it's very scary. Probably one of the reasons why I love it so much, but it's a beautiful, visually beautiful game. So what we're going to do here is just during the game, I'm going to take lots of snapshots, home button, on-off button at the same time. When things don't work and actually jumps off, he actually dies and so forth. He didn't that time because he landed quite well, but you'll be able to see that he actually has to go through each level. Beautiful game. So we're going to look at how we can use Limbo there in a bit of a workflow with some different apps, and we're going to explore some different ideas here. So let's start with one of my all-time favorite apps, which is iMovie. So what could we do this with students? Probably we wouldn't be doing this in the primary or elementary level with Limbo, but you could do it with any game. So what I'm going to here is just create a new trailer. And what I'm going to do is select a template that I think suits Limbo. In this case, scary is perfect. I just want to show you how easy it is to create a little one. So all I'm going to do here is click on the title. We're going to change that to Limbo intro. And so that could be a little movie trailer. I'm going to click on storyboard. And to actually insert some of those snapshots, it's as easy as just clicking on each of the storyboards. Bring in some of your ones. It goes to the next one. You can see how quick and easy this is to do. And then probably the learning aspect of it here is actually just putting in some really descriptive words that the kids come up with. Now, when I was playing this, one of the big ones was that feeling of being alone, that feeling of being scared, that feeling of being isolated. And by bringing out those vocab words into our movie trailer, all of a sudden we've got this fantastic learning opportunity with our students. If I press play, you can see there. Not sure if the sound, so just flash shots, alone, scared, isolated, beautiful little iMovie that you could create with your students based on that. So that's something that you could do with a game like Limbo. It's beautiful to do because it's so visually beautiful. Another thing that we could do here is, let's go to Pages, which is probably an underutilized type app on the iPad. I'm going to create a new document, and we could actually get in and create a whole report based on our game of Limbo. So if you haven't used Pages before, really easy to use. Case of just substituting text, replacing pictures, and all of a sudden we've got some wonderful imagery, but also some wonderful stimulus pictures that we can actually use in a report. And this could be about the character. You could make up the Limbo's main character. You could do a report about how you can get through the game, or it could be more of a storytelling narrative as well. So that's how we can use Pages just in a workflow with a game like Limbo. What else could we do? We could do some artwork. So we could jump into Drawing Pad here. If you haven't seen Drawing Pad, have a look at some of my tutorials on it. We could create a new doc and actually bring in one of those we could bring in one of those pictures with our backgrounds here of Limbo. And we could actually bring that in, look at different mediums, look at it from an artistic point of view, which I'm not, but we can look at it. I might select chalk here, and we could actually start to look at altering some of the actual imagery in Limbo and how we could actually change it and modify it slightly there. And you could bring in some different chalk aspects of it, and chalk works really well in regard to this sort of imagery because it's kind of kind of suits that. But you could do a range of different things, changing, getting kids to talk about colours. You could bring in selective colouring, so you could keep it black and white and look at aspects of red and what that signifies. So some really good opportunities there in Drawing Pad to do some work with a beautiful game like Limbo. And finally, I think one of the most powerful things is get kids hooked in with games. We could actually use another one of my favorites, which is Explain Everything. And we could actually bring in, start a new Explain Everything, bring in one of our snapshots. Let's bring in this one here. And what we could actually do there is we could just use our basic pen tool to actually start talking through different aspects of the game and how to actually solve it. And by pressing that red button down the bottom and Explain Everything, you can get students that struggle with literacy, reading and writing, to actually verbally explain what's happening in the game and how to actually go through it. Or you could go more along the tact of a storytelling. You could talk about the character and what he needs to do, how he might be feeling in this scenario, what's coming up, what kind of history has he got in his background, and you could use Explain Everything to really retell the story. So that's really today's tutorial, is just looking at how we can incorporate games into our teaching and learning space, I guess, and how we can use it as a stimulus for learning in a range of different areas, really tapping into students' needs, things that they actually enjoy doing, and how we can actually incorporate that into actually games. So that's looking at one of my all-time favorite games, Limbo. You might be motivated to go out and buy that now because it's such a beautiful game and a challenging game too. But how we can use it in workflows with different apps. Certainly lots of potential that schools and teachers haven't, I don't think, tapped into yet, but are starting to see the benefits of gaming in education. Paul Hamilton here, signing off.